Gotham Season 5, Episode 3, Penguin, Our Hero. So this was definitely an interesting episode, of course, taking off from the last one where Ed ends up setting up Penguin, and I love the fact that they even talk about this in the episode. Ed sets up Penguin, and it's like, Penguin was here, he's the one who, he's the one who actually hit all of these different gangs. So, of course, Penguin finds himself being attacked. A couple of people come in and try to shoot up the place. I think they instantly killed one of them. The other guy died. He randomly died at some point while he was chained up. And then the last guy ends up getting killed at the end of the episode. And it was really funny where it was like, if I wanted to start a gang war, none of you would be alive. Like, why would I tag the place and, then come back home? And it's like, we probably didn't think this through. It's like, yeah. So Penguin goes through a pretty interesting arc in this episode where he realizes everyone hates him, which they should. He's being a real dick right now. I mean, he never really cared that much for people, but I don't know. It seemed like when he was like the corrupt mayor, he still kind of cared a little bit. And at this point, it's just like, because things are so chaotic, he just doesn't give a crap. Like, people are passing out when they're singing. People are passing out and getting crushed, making bullets. He's feeding his dog steaks while everyone else is passing out because they're super effing hungry. And he's just like, why are they passing out? So he finally gets a decent lesson in this episode where it's like, he kind of sucks as a person. Everyone abandons him, including the dog. And so he takes off. He ends up going to Haven because his plan is to just, attempt to murder a bunch of people if he doesn't get his people back, because he's kind of delusional a little bit, because he's like, give us our people back as if they were taken. It's like, they came here on their own. But he was a little bit delusional in this, and, he was kind of mad. So he kind of scoops up some of the other gang members, takes them to Haven, and they basically go there and, try to attack Jim and get his people back. So a couple of people get taken out because the cops only have like a dozen bullets or something, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, now we're done here. So they get in, they start arresting people, or I guess technically just put them in cells and stuff. And that's when we get some interesting stuff where Penguin is betrayed, unsurprisingly, because people still don't like him, just in general. So he ends up getting put in with Jim, and it's like, I guess that didn't work out for you. They end up getting rescued because the kid with the broken arm, he ends up getting them the key, so they end up making their escape. And that's how Penguin kind of, he gets a little bit of praise, because Jim, being the sometimes mostly hero that he is, he doesn't want to kill this guy, especially inside of Haven and, in front of everybody. And Penguin's like, nah, it's just, boom, I'm killing everybody, because the guy, was pissed at Penguin, so he killed his right-hand man, which was probably one of the best deaths ever, because it's like, Penguin's like, it's so stupid, like, why would you do this? Like, none of this would have happened if you never left. And his dying words to Penguin were like, everybody hated you, and then he just dies. And it was meant to be serious, I think, but it just made me laugh. I was like, that's really funny, because it was just like, everybody hated you. And then that's what he left off with, and he just died. And I was like, that's pretty funny to me. So it just made me laugh, because I'm like, that's just messed up. Like, that's how much you suck. This guy chose to have his last dying words to be like, you suck. And that was it. That's why we left. You just suck. Everybody hated you. So Penguin kind of comes back a little bit by the end, because he actually kills the guy, and, some people have different ideals on it. So some people were cool with Jim not doing it, and some people were cool with Penguin, ultimately just coming in and shooting the guy up and killing the last couple of people off. So he's like, all right, I'm starting to get the people back. We see in the promo for the next episode that he is, this is kind of the lead up as to why they end up becoming partners in the flash forward from the premiere. And ultimately that culminates with them, after this moment, it's like, all right, he's kind of getting the voice of the people after he kills some of the goons inside of Haven. And so they're leaving out. And that's when Barbara finally shows up, because she finds out what happens. And so she's going there, and it's like, all right, well, I'll save Jim, kill Penguin, no big deal. And I was trying to figure out, I was like, all right, they already did it once. Barbara's super pissed already. How in the world could Jim possibly talk her out of shooting Penguin? And we know it's going to happen because Penguin's there at the end during the flash forward. So I'm like, all right, I don't see how this could possibly make any sense. How can he stop her in this moment? And then there's a huge explosion, kills everybody inside of Haven. I think there were only like maybe 6 or 7 people that were actually standing outside the building. So everybody's just dead on the inside. Crazy explosion. And it's like, well, that's a crazy way to do it. That'll definitely stop somebody from being murdered. An explosion goes off inside the building, killing everyone on the inside. So that killed a bunch of innocent people. Also took out whatever rations that they had inside of Haven. So who knows what's left, at the GCPD. But it's like, all right, well, that's an insane moment. So now that also takes out the whole Haven storyline, which I thought was going to be a bigger deal, where they would be, splitting their resources and time trying to protect everyone they can, and they pretty much just lost everybody. Like, it just blows up and they're dead. And if I'm not mistaken, they don't show what happened. It's been a few days since I actually saw the episode, but from what I recall, they don't even show what happened. It was just like, boom, an explosion went off, and there are like no clues given as to who in the world did that. So that was definitely an interesting way to end that storyline, and it just wasn't at all what I was expecting, but I certainly enjoyed it because I was like, well, that's crazy, so I can't wait to see where that goes. And of course, the other half of this episode was Bruce and Selina going out and doing their Batman Catwoman thing, and it was fun. Selina going crazy was interesting. They go in, they have to deal with like these weird Mad Max people, because I'm pretty sure that dude was supposed to be a reference to Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, because he was just saying like kill, and like the way he looked and everything. I'm pretty sure that's a reference to Master Blaster. That's what it is, Master Blaster from Mad Max. So I'm like, they're dealing with these crazy Mad Max people. They kill an old dude with nail bombs and stuff. So they go through that, beat a bunch of people up. Selina goes crazy and she's scratching this dude's face up, and Bruce has to stop her. So they're going through the motions there, looking for Joker, or at this point just Velasquez. And so they end up finding basically, Harley Quinn. Like, they have her in the outfit and stuff, which I thought was super cool during that scene. And now I realized that it wasn't Anarchy, it was her. Her name is Echo, apparently. Like, I looked it up. I don't remember her at all when she wherever she first showed up. I legitimately don't remember her at all. But apparently it was the same sort of setup where she was like an acolyte, and I guess that was her behind the mask before, where she was in like a normal sort of jester costume and just didn't have the Harley Quinn colors on it. So that's who was holding Jim up. But I was like, okay, that's who was there. It wasn't Anarchy. She just happened to have a white mask on, and that's why I thought it was Anarchy. But we see her and she's talking about, you want to be acolytes and stuff like that. So these people have to put faith in the fact that they basically will win a game of Russian roulette. So she goes in, Selina kind of goes in and does her thing. She stops the hammer from being pulled because she doesn't want to risk her life on nothing. Everyone leaves out, and then she ends up fighting Harley Quinn, which I thought was cool. They, of course, don't call her Harley Quinn or anything like that, but she had the costume. She does say pudding, which I thought was interesting that they kind of threw it in there with Echo saying it to Selina. So I was like, all right, cool little fight sequence. She was a good fighter, which I thought was nice because Harley actually is a good fighter, and she's very acrobatic. So I was like, that's cool. She was doing a couple of flips and stuff like that, and I was like, all right, that's cool that they had her do that more acrobatic Harley sort of fighting style. So I enjoyed that. But ultimately, it was fun to watch. It was good to see, it's kind of just this progression, this greater divide between Bruce and Selina. Selina is now, I guess, infected by whatever in the world Bruce ultimately ended up giving her, and it's making her, officially more cat-like, and she hisses, and she's got like, the thing where her eyes change colors. So very interesting. I definitely like what we got to see, and I'm definitely looking forward to Velasquez, showing up in the next episode and being the Joker and whatever in the world that's going to entail when we get to the next episode. But all in all, it was definitely fun. Like, for me, the big thing was definitely like the crazy explosion going off, and it's just like, well, what the heck was that? Like, was that a part of the setup that Nigma had to begin with when he was passed out? But that doesn't make sense because they just got it in the very last episode. So, and considering he's a genius, it does kind of make sense. But I don't know. It's like, why would he do that? Would he kill all those innocent people just to, get to Penguin, or would he not do that? Because there was no riddle involved. It was just, he's mad, so he's just doing it. So there were a couple of questions to it, and like I said, I don't believe they gave us any clues as to who did it. But if they did, it definitely wasn't Ed. Not that I saw or remember, at least. So it'll be interesting to see what the answer is to that. Like, who would do that? Why would they do it? Just to blow up this safe haven, for innocent people. Why, bother with that sort of thing within basically the area that's actually controlled by the GCPD? There's not that much to really take on. Like, there's so much, like they show it in the premiere. There's so many areas that are being controlled by other people. It's like, well, it makes sense that you'd want to expand your territory, but just why bother doing it in that way? But they are crazy criminals. So I mean, blowing up basically it was like an orphanage that they blew up. That's pretty much what they did. It was like, yeah, let's blow up this orphanage, and a bunch of innocent people died. So that was basically what they did. It's like, yeah, it's a bunch of crazy people. It's Gotham. So I guess it all makes sense in the end. But definitely an entertaining episode. Of course, we'll love to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts. Naturally, I definitely want to know your thoughts on who was behind the explosion, why they, did that. What are your thoughts on Selina and like our first true glimpse of her kind of going insane, and what that's going to mean for her character going into these, this being the final season. What is that going to mean for her character as the series concludes? What is she going to become? So I would love to know your thoughts on that, thoughts on the explosion, thoughts on the episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.